Hello everyone, it's me Varus, and in this video it's going to be short range outlook and forecast of the rest of the week. So I hope you enjoy, and yeah, let's get right into it. So start off with some surface analysis on this Wednesday evening now. So in the west it's relatively quiet. I mean, typical spring conditions, temperatures all along the western coast, anywhere from the 70s up to the 40s. And it's been relatively dry as well. Colder temperatures, obviously, in the higher elevations. Some wet conditions in the Pacific Northwest, as you would typically see during this time of year. And in the Southwest U.S., relatively dry. Now, heading a little more east, still kind of in the western U.S., also relatively quiet and dry. However, once you get into the Midwest and even more to the east, you have a severe weather threat. And you can see that by these two low pressure systems right here and this very strong cold front that kind of drapes all the way down here, which causes a marginal risk almost down to the Gulf Coast. But we have an enhanced risk over here, kind of right near Chicago, northern Illinois, southern Wisconsin, eastern Iowa, northeastern Missouri, well, kind of northwestern Indiana, Michigan. So it's small, but there is a pretty strong risk, and you can see that this does look like a pretty interesting system. So that will last through the rest of today. Now the east is actually really beautiful weather. I mean, 70s and 60s widespread along the entire eastern seaboard, 40s and 50s to the extreme north and east, and towards the south and east we have 80s and deep south 70s as well. So that's your surface analysis. Now getting into alerts and indices, you can see here is our severe threat right here in the Midwest. So again, west pretty quiet. Here you have lots of high wind watches and red flag warnings, so fire watches because of wind and warm conditions. Now my pen hasn't been working, so I've just been using my mouse. Now, again, here we go. This red are actually tornado warnings, and then once you kind of head up, or these are actually blizzard warnings right here. So you have your severe threat. This is really interesting. You have a severe threat through Kentucky, Indiana, Illinois, and some tornado warnings. But here, these are all blizzard warnings. On the north and west side, you have actually winter weather occurring. So that's all through Wisconsin, Iowa, and northwestern Kansas. So that's actually really interesting as well. Now, besides that, just lots of high wind warnings. And towards the east, you have these special weather statements, which are likely fire statements. So we'll just keep an eye out on that for today. So it looks active, but relatively only just a fire in pretty windy conditions, except for this severe storm and bringing both severe weather and wintry precipitation, which is really interesting. So talk about the severe threat. Here we are. It's an enhanced risk right now, mainly focused in central Illinois and western Indiana. Tornado threat 10%, but hatch, so definitely a threat. Wind and hail also there. Day 2, it just tapers off, just some severe, maybe some garden thunderstorm, garden variety along the eastern seaboard in north central U.S. And then day 3, central U.S. and Pacific Northwest. And then after that, it looks relatively quiet. Day 4, 5, however, 5 we might need to watch out for a threat, but 6, 7, and 8 looks low for now. So let's just run this all through the next 60 hours. So that should take us through Thursday and Friday and some portion of the weekend as well. So here's your storm. Again, very interesting. Pretty heavy snows on the northwestern side, while severe weather on the southern side. And that kind of continues. And Chicago will actually get some storms and maybe some snow at the end, which will be really interesting. And that kind of passes on. And that gets to the east, but we don't expect it to be too severe. This would be by tomorrow evening. However, we don't expect anything too severe here. Let's actually zoom into the northeast. And you can see just very light. Now we'll go back to the north central. And we'll go to right now. There you have your some of the severe weather is backing into the colder air. So you could have some thunder snow with areas kind of right in here where you see all that convective activity. And then you see it go off. So, I mean, honestly, it does look very impressive. It's not that impressive. But definitely some heavier snows or convective precipitation is meeting with the colder air. So that after that severe threat kind of passes, you got cold air dumping into the eastern U.S., moderation in the west and central U.S., and then another little cold shot that tries to come through in some interesting system that spins up here. So after that, it looks relatively quiet. through the rest of this week and getting into the weekend. So I hope you enjoyed. Relatively short video, but I'll have a longer one out on Friday. But as of right now, the weather's quiet and calm, but expect that to change once we get further into spring and summer. Have a great rest of your day.